everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today I want to talk about new gun laws in California for 2016. I also want to talk about upcoming measures that will be brought to a vote in California that will affect Californians' gun rights for years to come. That's going to be happening also in 2016. So there's a lot to talk about. Stay tuned. So the first new law I want to talk about makes it illegal for concealed carry weapons permit holders to bring a weapon, concealed or otherwise, onto any college or school campus in the entire state of California. So if you happen to live in an area that does allow concealed carry, and maybe even a college that allows you to bring your concealed carry firearm onto their college campus, it's within policy, within guidelines, everything is legal, and maybe you've been doing it for a while now. It is now illegal on a state level to do so. So even though it would be within policy, within city policy or guidelines, it is now illegal statewide, and you can be arrested. It's a misdemeanor. You can be fined, thrown in jail. That is one of the new laws to hit us right now. No firearms, even if you're a permit holder, inside or outside the waistband on any college or school campus across the entire state. Now, this second law is one of those very rare occasions where I feel like I can get behind this law because I think it has the potential to actually save lives. This law pertains to BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, things of that nature versus real guns. You know, when an officer is out in the field, he has a split second to decide whether or not somebody's holding a fake gun or a real gun, and chances are at the end of that altercation, a cop is going to be going home to his family before the person with the real or fake gun is going to be going home to theirs. So what this law does is it says that any airsoft gun, BB gun, whatever it might be, has to have a brightly colored tip to signify that it is not a real firearm. That would help the officer identify a real gun from a fake gun, maybe give that extra split second to save that person's life or even potentially the officer's life. So this is one law that I can actually get behind. Now, we all know that every single law is circumventable and that all somebody has to do is spray paint, use a marker, whatever the case might be in order to get rid of the front of that gun. And sometimes things like that, they end in tragedy. But at least if the case comes around where a kid in a park is playing with a gun and has a bright yellow tip, maybe the officer would think twice about pulling the trigger so quickly, and that, you know what, could save the officer a long time in jail, and it could save the kid his life. So that number two, that one I can actually get behind. Brightly colored tips on airsoft guns and BB guns. Now, this third law is without a doubt the most controversial and unconstitutional law to ever hit the state of California, and that is the Firearm Restraining Order, and I'll tell you how that works real quick. Basically, somebody who knows you, okay? It doesn't have to be a family member. It can be a friend, a coworker, or an acquaintance. Simply walks into a police department or a sheriff's station and fills out an affidavit. On that affidavit, they state that they feel that you're a threat to yourself or others, and then they sign it under penalty of perjury. They give it to the sheriff, who forwards it on to a judge. The judge then reviews that, and if he determines so, he can issue a firearm restraining order. That gives the police the ability to come into your home and seize all of your firearms for 3 weeks. The problem is that you will not find out about that until the police are actually at your door. So not only do they deprive you of your Second Amendment rights, you are guilty before proven innocent, and you have a loss of due process. You do not get to defend yourself until the actions are already taken against you. So after the police come in and they confiscate all of your firearms, you then have 1 week to go to court and defend yourself to figure out whether or not that restraining order was valid, the argument that the person had against you was then valid, or whatever the case might be. So you lose due process, you're guilty before you're innocent, your Second Amendment rights are stripped away from you, and this is a recipe for disaster. Because there are people out there who will not allow the police to come into their home to take their firearms. There are people out there who will fight back. Because this right here is absolute tyranny. This is unconstitutional on many levels. It's not just the Second Amendment. They are stepping over your rights in several different ways with this law. I suppose there will probably be lawsuits to follow. The first one that actually happens, I guarantee there's going to be lawsuits. And then talking about the person who actually files the restraining order against you. If that person is found to be in contempt, under penalty of perjury, they say you were a danger to yourself and others, and it turns out that they had ill intent, can you go after that person now for whatever type of damage that they may have caused to you, mentally, physically, whatever the case might be. This opens the books for so many more problems. But basically, we're talking about the Firearm Restraining Order. Okay, the Firearm Restraining Order, as I said before, and I'm just going to put it in a little nutshell, allows somebody to say something against you that will have almost all of your rights stripped away without any proof or evidence whatsoever, and you can't defend yourself until after that's gone. So that's Firearm Restraining Order. Now I want to talk about some laws that are going to be voted on in 2016, and this is something you definitely need to inform yourself about. Go over, and I don't care if you click away from this video right now, and go over and check out Firearm Policy Coalition. Okay, the Firearm Policy Coalition has a bunch of great information on this particular topic, but what I want to talk about is some bills that are being put forth by our Lieutenant Governor, Gavin Newsom, who's going to be running for governor of the state of California in 2016. Okay, one of the things he is proposing is a background check system for sales of ammunition in the state of California. Okay, background checks every single time you have an ammunition transaction in the state of California. Also, it will require a face-to-face transaction. The problem with that is it will no longer allow internet transactions unless it follows another law that they're trying to enact, which basically says that anybody who's selling ammunition in the state of California will have to get a license very similar to an FFL license in order to sell that ammunition to you. So let's say you want to buy ammunition from Cabela's. Cabela's maybe isn't in the state of California, whatever it might be, so they don't have one of those cards that are similar to an FFL. You will not be able to buy ammunition online from that particular vendor unless they have that California approved seller's card for that ammunition. Now, guaranteed that background check will cost you a fee. I've heard things like $50 be thrown around, whatever the case might be, but you're talking about background checks. This is something that's going to be put to vote for the people in the state of California. So you have a chance now to step up and vote against this. We can also put pressure on Gavin Newsom to maybe, it's already been approved by Kamala Harris, the district attorney in California, but maybe we can put pressure on them to retract it. I don't think that's going to happen. Go to the ballot box and vote against that. Now, another one that they're talking about doing is getting away with all of the large capacity military style is what they say. This is the language in the bill. Military style large capacity magazines. This is also language that they say in the bill that enable mass shootings. Okay? That is actually in the written language that Gavin Newsom gave to Kamala Harris. It says that large capacity military style ammunition magazines enable mass shootings. Okay? They want to take all of those away in the state of California. Well, if you guys are watching this and you think, well, California only allows 10 rounds already, that's not necessarily true. Small areas right now have rules that say you cannot at all, for any circumstance, even grandfathered in, own anything over 10 rounds. However, grandfathered magazines prior to the assault weapons ban in California are allowed and legal in the states. You can have a 30-round magazine as long as it was bought and purchased and it been in your possession since before the ban. They want to get rid of that. They're calling it a loophole, and they want to take all of those magazines out of the state of California, okay? This is bad, and they want you to turn them in. I'm not even sure if they're going to let you sell them or give them to an FFL, whatever the case might be. So we need to make sure that we vote against that as well. It's all just about control. It's not about mass shootings. It's not about anything like that. It's just about the control. Okay, these are laws that Gavin Newsom is running on as his platform for his race for the California governorship. It's unbelievable to me, and I know I am kind of editorializing a little bit, and I apologize for that. I should stick to the laws. But they bother me so much that it's excessive and unbelievable. These laws do not pertain to law enforcement, mind you. Law enforcement can still have whatever gun they want. It doesn't have to be on an approved list. Law enforcement doesn't have to turn over anything. Law enforcement can still buy whatever they want, and it doesn't pertain to them, so law enforcement isn't going to care. The only way to get law enforcement behind us is if this affects everybody across the state. Well, what I need you guys to do is to go over to the Firearms Policy Coalition, because they really are helping out with the fight, or the Calguns Foundation. Okay, these are two places that are really helping us out with the fight on these. You need to send emails to Gavin Newsom. You need to let him know that you do not support this in any way possible, and that all of the proposals of the bills that he has, and I didn't even cover all of them because there are several, okay, but background checks for firearm ammunition, magazines, background checks for ammo to me is one of the biggest ones. But still, they are all unconstitutional. As we know, every law against firearms is an infringement. So help fight the fight. Join the Firearm Policy Coalition. Let's help get this state back. I don't think it's lost. I think the fight has just begun. We can win this one. We can win this. Vote the right people in, and we've won. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.